What about that? Second day.
First deer kill in my life ever.
How does it feel?
It's interesting, man. I feel like it will feel a lot different when I get back at camp and I sit down and I process it. I feel like I just knocked a guy out and I'm running from the cops. I don't, I need to settle. I also haven't been hunting long enough to truly feel like, I don't know, man. He does such a good job this weekend of putting people on deer that it's like, oh, well, must be easy to hunt in Vermont, right?
It's not easy at all. And you guys both got deer. It's insane, dude.
Oh, thank you.
What a unique rack, too.
Thank
you. Never seen a deer rack like that here at camp.
It's warm. It's fucking...
Yep.
Thank you, dear. You well consume me.
It's so awesome, Evan. Great job.
The only thing is, though, if...
You missed that first shot. That second follow-up shot was key.
I did miss the first one. I mean, I had nothing to aim at. I was just fucking... I knew there was a deer there, but... Fuck.
That's so awesome, Evan. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Well, it worked out this weekend at camp.
Yeah.
I can't believe you and Chris came down for your first time at deer camp in Vermont. And you each got a 6-pointer. And it's insane. I still can't believe it.
A little bit of luck got me this one.
Still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Look at this deer, man. Look at that rack. I've never seen a rack like that at camp either.
Yeah, this brow time's really cool.
Yeah.
And he's knobbly as fuck.
What did we see when you shot the first time and he was running? There was something that felt like it was hanging on his back.
No, he had leaves or this yellowy stick, so I thought, holy fuck, that's like a fucking 10-pointer. Oh my god, what have I done?
I saw some rack. I mean, this is just a beautiful deer, man. It's a great job.
Thank you. I'm
so happy I got to experience it with you.
Yeah, thanks. I wouldn't do it with anyone else.
What a deer. You want to set that thing up for a picture?
Yeah.
You're listening to the Hunt Suburbia podcast. I'm your host, Pat Guyette. Big bucks I've been dreaming often, every night till I'm in a coffin. Vermont woods to the burbs of Boston, I'm looking for a tree to get lost in. Crisp mornings, little dust in the snow, quality time, just me and my bow. Fall evenings, I know just where to go for some quality times for me and my bow. It's just me and my bow. This episode is brought to you by Heron Hill Winery. Go to heronhill.com, make sure that they deliver to your state, and use code HS5 at checkout for an additional 5%. This episode is one that I was hoping that we were going to record, and I mean, it was even better than I had hoped for. I got to take my buddy Evan out, Scotland as I call him, for his first ever whitetail hunt up at Vermont Deer Camp, a place that is very special and dear to me. And we were able to get him a deer, and not just a deer, it was a buck, and bigger than any buck that I've even shot out there, and that was awesome. So we're going to let Evan tell that story, and guess what? There was a bonus as well. Chris came up with me to Vermont, and he was able to get a buck with a bow from camp, and we'll be releasing that one later as well. So here we are with the first one. All right, we're out at deer camp. We've been looking forward to this. People listening to the podcast have talked about it throughout the year. Couldn't wait to get up here and take my buddy Evan hunting for the first time.
Yep.
And hopefully we've been talking about it this summer, me and him. Dude, you're getting a buck this year. You're getting a buck.
Or a deer,
Any deer, but yeah, we were like, dude, it's going to be a buck. And well, it was a successful weekend at camp. Let's just leave it at that. Chris also, we'll have a podcast with Chris, but yesterday Chris got a buck with his bow out here, and he is the first person to get a buck, any deer with a bow here that wasn't a crossbow, I would say in the last 25 years, and it's the heaviest compound bow buck that he got, but we'll let him tell that story. But anyway, Evan, this morning, Sunday morning, last day, we had some good action yesterday. This morning, we got it done.
Shall we talk about, the whole novice thing?
Yeah.
That Vermont does?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was great that this year there's a new law in Vermont to get adult hunters who have never hunted before. You can get a novice tag, and you essentially get to hunt the same weekend as the youth weekend, and you can shoot any sex deer, and it's just meant to be an introduction to get you into hunting. You got to go out with a mentor, and that was the whole goal of this weekend. Chris came up from Massachusetts with us, and there was low expectations even with you, right? What were your expectations going into the weekend?
I wanted a buck, but I didn't expect to get a trigger pull on a deer. Nope.
Or even see one, right? You were fully expecting that there was a chance you weren't going to see a deer.
I thought we would either not see any deer or I'd see the ass of does running away.
Yeah. And so we'll back it up to the first night we got here. We got here around noon. It was really hot. It was like 70-something degrees. And Evan and I went to the area that we were going to hunt, but went lower. We didn't want to mess up the high ridge where we were going to hunt the first morning of novice. So we went with me to try to get, I brought my crossbow out that I brought with me to Vermont. There's a new law in Vermont. Anybody can shoot a crossbow. It's the first year with that law. And so I got one just to play around with it and brought it down there, and we had an evening sit, and we saw tons of scrapes on the way in, fresh scrapes. And right down next to a swamp, and it's the first time I'd ever sat there, and it felt good that night. We just kind of hung out and breaking the ice a little bit, and didn't see anything, and got out.
Couple 8-pointers on your cameras.
Couple 8-pointers on the camera on the way in that I checked. That was over a mock scrape that I made. So there were 2 8-pointers there, and they seemed to be recent. The dates were all off on the camera, but they were recent. And one thing we knew for sure was that was a huge scrape. They were awesome. You could see the hoof prints. The hoof scrape marks, there were deep lines coming out, and it was made that day or the night the day before we went in there. So we sat there, and the next day, so Chris gets here late, and he doesn't know these woods at all, and we go in there in the dark. So I dropped him off down there because I knew they were fresh scrapes. We dropped him off, and he ended up killing a nice 6-pointer that came right in on that big scrape.
Hour and a half.
Got on his hind legs, and we'll let Chris tell that story. Yeah. But so we went. And Evan and I, we jumped the deer that day. We didn't see anything, that morning. And then we got back to camp last night, around noon, and then went for the evening hunt behind camp. Walked a good ways back there, up and down a few ridges, and sat in an oak flat. So there's an oak flat up there that I know it's full of oaks, and this year's a really big acorn year here. So we went up there for the evening hunt, and there was just all kinds of action again. We had a few other hunters in camp. My dad's here with my Uncle Gary. It was his first time hunting. Our buddy Jim was here, and he was just walking with his crossbow. And Chris had already got his deer, so he took his muzzleloader out in case he saw a bear, and did some bear hunting. And they were walking the ridges, and they were texting us, "Oh, we just jumped a couple deer coming your way. Jim had seen a buck with a doe." A little buck, but he watched it for 30 minutes and tried to get it to come in, and lots of action. We saw 2 deer in that oak flat, just couldn't get a shot off.
Yep. Had a nerve-wracking moment shaking around with my scope on one of them. Just never really got a shot.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you think about, so you said a couple times, it's just crazy how, they pop out of nowhere and then it's over in a quick second. What do you think? Yeah, was that what you expected?
No, it's not what I expected. It's not romantic. It is. I mean, I could see it being romanticized sitting at camp, but when you're in the woods and you've got your rifle in your lap, it is, holy shit, there comes a deer. Get your gun up to your shoulder. I mean, you were yelling at me for being like, "Oh, I see a deer." Well, okay, put the fucking gun up to your shoulder.
Yeah, the first deer he saw, he goes, "There's a deer going through there," and I was like, "Dude, you got to get that in your scope. You got to follow it with your scope." And he was like, "No, I don't have a shot." And I was like, "Dude, you still got to just get it up and get it in the crosshairs and follow it,
Yeah.
But that was the first deer you'd ever seen, and you can't really prepare for that.
Right, and I just didn't know that it was kind of just you got to get on them. You got to shoot the damn things.
Yeah, it's going to be quick. They're not going to walk up to you and give you a perfect broadside shot.
It's kind of what I expected. Maybe watched a little bit too much TV, but
yeah. We're not in a field, We're back there, and there's whips
everywhere, and we're lucky enough to be able to have vantage points, and the terrain here is quite insane. So you can't see a lot because of the leaves, but you can at least kind of see movement, and you can cover a large area. So all of a sudden, a deer's there. Got to put your gun up and try and shoot the damn thing. It's challenging.
And you saw the deer before I did almost every time this weekend. You were like,
except
holy shit,
second,
there's a deer there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. It happens so fast, and then you've got to try and, keep it under wraps because you got to have a good shot. I mean,
Have a gentle squeeze of
I've
the
never
trigger.
bow hunted, so I can't even imagine what that's like. But with a rifle, I mean, it's crazy. You got to hit it right, and I messed the damn thing the first shot and killed it the second time.
So the first day we had some action. We couldn't believe Chris got a deer. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I don't bow hunt out here much. I've bow hunted a few times, but I've very recent to bow hunting, as you guys know, and I've most of it is down in Massachusetts, and it's just a tough area up here to bow hunt. It's tough enough with a rifle up there with all those ridges going every which way, and it's so thick, It's a tough area to bow hunt here. And put Chris down near the scrapes, and this is something I've learned just over the last few years. Hunt that fresh sign. I was so happy we put him down there, and he got that. Anyway, we're up. So yesterday we have all this action, and we get back to camp. We got a deer hanging, and it's great. And then last night, the weather just cold front coming in. It was getting colder throughout the entire night. This morning it was nice, crisp, like 34, 30, 35 degrees, and felt like a nice deer killing day. We left camp. This was like the romantic part. Is like when you have a deer camp, it's nice that you can leave out the back and a trail that my grandfather and my dads and they've been walking that trail that we walked in for 50 years.
I mean, you walk by an eerie steel chair, like a venue chair, like something you'd see at like a wedding, and so that's where Grandpa used to sit, and it's spooky. It's eerie, but it's incredibly cool.
Yeah, we left my grandfather's chair in there where the last time he went hunting, he was 85 years old, and he sat there and he shot at a doe. And he didn't get it, but it was all exciting. He was 85, didn't want to give up hunting, and he ended up dying at 90. So it was like in the last 5 years of his life, and he sat there, and we haven't moved that chair. And so it was pretty cool to see, right?
Yeah, it's a cool monument.
We put some ashes there and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost surreal actually.
Yeah. And then so we got up to this spot. We had to go up real nice steep ridges, and it's thick. It's evergreens, and then we call it the cliff blind. There's steep rock ledges on the backside of it, and looking down in a nice valley, and we're just sitting there a little bit hungover from last night.
Speak for yourself.
I was hungover. I mean, I was not doing great this morning. Celebrating Chris's deer last night.
It smelled like JMO on the way up the hill.
It smelled a little bit like Jameson on the way in, but hey, it worked out. So maybe it's an attractant, a JMO. So we're sitting there and we're talking, but when you're out in the woods, you want to whisper like this, and you don't want any of that deep gravelly tone they can hear. So we were whispering, and Evan just goes, "Pat, that's a deer right there." And again, he picked it out. He picked it out before I did, and that's good. You're observant in the woods. You need, and especially in like any of these big woods, you got to be able to pick out. Again, you might only have a few seconds. Luckily, this deer was coming in, and he was just browsing and nose to the ground, doing some feeding, and I could see it was a buck with my naked eye. I was like, dude, that's a buck, Evan. I can't believe, because up here you can hunt, and I've hunted here my entire life, and both of these guys who came for the first weekend have killed bigger bucks than I have my entire life hunting here. That's just the way it happens, and you can go a whole season and see 5 deer sometimes, and we were just into the action, and I couldn't believe a buck manifested himself. And so tell me what happened. We'll go through the whole story from there.
So we were way high up, sitting on the cliff blind, a little bit further down technically, and I'm just to look up, and there's this spruce branch, kind of maybe left about 2 feet of path underneath it, and I just see these long legs. There's 4 of them, and they're and there's a head down there just grazing, happy as shit, and holy crap, that's a deer. So got it in my scope, and by the time I had it in my scope, it kind of went behind this tree. So you were like, all right, aim to the right of the tree, wait for him to come out, squeeze the trigger.
And I was telling you, shoot through. You can shoot through that green stuff. Don't, because the first day you're thinking you got to wait for it to be perfect. Dude, you can shoot it right through them windows.
Yeah. And I was not willing to let this deer, I didn't want to squander this opportunity trying to find a great shot. I just was like, okay, you're going to have to pull the trigger here, Evan. You're going to have to make this happen.
Yep.
And I waited until,
you were sitting, right? We stood for the second shot. You were sitting.
Yes, we were sitting on this one. And I think I aimed at, I had him in my scope. He was about to walk beyond the tree, but he stopped and he didn't continue. And you suggested, all right, slide down here quietly.
Yeah.
So about 6 to 8 feet down the hill a little bit to the left, slid down, saw him looking at me, licking his chops, kind of, didn't see it,
He
didn't
didn't
pick
know
us
we were
out,
there. Yeah.
but he was looking in our direction, and I couldn't see his body. Well, I saw his head, and I shot where I thought his body was.
Yeah.
Squeezed the trigger, he bounced out of there. I thought I hit him. He had a bunch of twigs and leaves in his antler, so I thought it was the biggest buck I'd ever seen in my
he had
entire life.
he had a bunch of stuff, and now as
it
he was
caught the
running away, I
sunlight.
was just like, "Holy shit!" I didn't know what it was, but it did look like a huge rack.
Yeah, I thought he was wearing a crown. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, what?
So that happened.
I missed that shot completely. Did not
Yeah,
hit
we
the
didn't know
deer.
until later. I thought at first he shot it, and I thought there was going to be blood if we went down there, but luckily,
Yeah,
he
so
stopped.
I missed the deer. Who knows what was going? Just so much brush, and I didn't really know where his body was. It was just kind of a hit and hope type thing. He spooks and runs around, but stops. And you did well by keeping your eyes on him. I saw him run away, but I didn't see him stop in the thick stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I still see him. He's right there.
he was looking right up at us, wondering what the hell that shot was.
Yeah, and I was getting frustrated because I was like, I don't see this deer, and you're like, I'm looking right at him. I'm like, where? And you point, but it's like, oh, fuck, I still don't see this deer.
It was a good 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it felt like 3 minutes
Before you pulled the trigger.
And I was like, okay, there he is. I see his eyes, and he's licking his nose, licking his face, and he's definitely, like, God, what's going on here?
Yeah, he was trying
And
to scent us. And see
I
what it
really
was.
didn't want to let this opportunity squander, so I thought, okay, I could see more of the deer. Again, though, I couldn't see him broadside, and it was just like,
No,
okay.
he was facing us. It was his chest.
Yeah, I thought I aimed where I thought his vitals were going to be through the
You just dropped
brush,
it
and
down from his head.
I hit him. I was probably 8 to 10 inches forward and slightly up from like the ideal kill shot, but I hit him in the spine and he dropped like
It
a
was-
sack of potatoes.
Well, so he shot it straight on through the front of the neck, right?
No, it was on the
Oh,
side
so
of the
he
neck.
was standing a little
Yeah,
broadside.
yeah,
there.
he was quartering towards me,
Okay.
and I shot. I couldn't see his.
And we're
body.
we're way up on the ledge, so he's shooting down.
About 125
It
to
was a
150
nice
yards.
shot, and it was freehand. We're standing for this one,
Yeah. And yeah, I hit him right in the spine.
and
I
he
pushed-
dropped right there,
I
and
pushed bone fragment out the exit wound. I mean,
Yep.
that deer died.
he died instantly.
Yeah.
And just we celebrated up on that hill.
Yeah, I didn't quite believe. You were like, you dropped him, and you're freaking out, and I'm like, I did? Okay,
I was like,
good.
dude, you dropped him. I mean, I was getting tears in my eyes. I'm getting them again. It was just awesome, man.
Yeah, and we just ran down. I'm like, should we wait? And you're like, fuck no.
You don't need
Get
to. You don't
down
need to
there.
wait, man. That thing died.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, shit. And
Let's go check him out. And again, we didn't know at that point. We're like, this could be a monster buck because we thought it had huge antlers as we saw it running.
Right.
Still, it was a great deer.
I was still in belief that it was even a buck, really, because I saw him run away, and I was like, holy shit, look at the size of those things. But in the back of my mind, it's like,
It was a great deer.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was very happy, and
An
there
awesome
he was.
6-pointer.
We walk in the little like beddy thick stuff where I shot him, and there he is.
Yep. And then what did we do? We took some pictures and some videos and stuff.
Well, you showed me how to gut him. I didn't know how to gut a deer.
Yeah.
A little bit different than a fish, turns out.
Yep.
But not a whole lot different. Gutted him out, and then
Also, some people are afraid of you gotta be perfect. Gutting a deer doesn't have you want to get all the stuff out of there, but it's not like it's not a pretty job. Just get in there and you can start cutting along the back of the spine, start feeling your hands around. You're gonna get covered in blood, and that's just all part of it.
Yep. That was cool. So we tried the whole spit roast carry.
No, before
up
that,
What?
what happened while we were gutting
Oh
the
shit!
deer?
Yeah, fuck. So can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sitting down, gutting the deer. Pat's kind of giving me the tutorial, and all of a sudden we hear crash, 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 and then there's a doe staring at us 4 feet from us.
Oh,
tails-
a healthy
yeah,
doe.
big
came,
doe.
Big one.
Tails flagging, and she's like, "Holy shit!
She
what
had,
are
she
you
had
guys
got
doing?"
pushed. My cousin was showing his father-in-law around up there. Pete doesn't like when I call him his father-in-law because he's not technically
Well,
his
yeah,
father-in-law.
yeah.
But he does like it, I think.
When they do get married, you'll have to get my name tag.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah, it was
they were up
crazy.
there moving, so they must have pushed that doe down to us, and she had no idea that we were there, and she stopped. Yeah, like Evan said, it was like 4 yards or something away. It was just right next to us. Her mouth was open, panting, and it was
Yeah,
just
you were like, "Don't."
yeah. That was I wanted to see. Like if we could stay super still, she might like even come closer. And
Right.
Then, whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the
it was
camel,
awesome.
camel worked because she didn't see us straight away, and then all of a sudden she was like, boom, gone. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
And then she knew something was up. "Oh no, is that my dad?" I think that's what she said. She looked at your buck.
Yeah, well.
And man, just an awesome experience, though.
Yeah.
Did you expect that at all?
To kill the deer?
Like
To have it success?
just coming this weekend. Do you think you were going to be going home with a deer in your truck? You want to?
No,
think
I didn't.
that.
If I were a gambling man and had to actually like place a bet, no, I would have not bet. So, but a 6-point buck? Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And what do your daughters? What do your daughters tell you?
Oh well, Maddie told me I have to come home with something that can go on the wall. We have like a silly it's a red deer, but it's metal.
Yeah.
On above our kitchen table. So we've always talked about getting a real deer.
Are you gonna mount it if you can?
I don't think so.
Ask the butcher if you wanted to.
I think I might just Euro it.
Yeah.
I shot him in the neck. It's nothing amazing. I mean, I know it's my first day. I don't want to sound like a dick here, but I don't know. It's not. I don't know. Nah, I'm probably just gonna Euro mount it.
Yeah.
UVM Rubenstein School.
Yeah.
Can give you some flesh-eating beetles. Yeah. So I think I'll do that.
So it was tough dragging in the beginning because we had to get it up over that cliff. Like we're walking up almost a sheer face. I mean, it was really, really tough in the beginning. So we did try to
hog tie it.
Yeah, hog tie it. We had a small tree that we broke down to put in there and try to carry it up that cliff, but the tree wasn't stiff enough. It was too flexible.
Yeah, we maybe went 50 yards with the hog-tied deer, and then we're like, okay, let's just drag it. And then
got to the top. You puked a little bit.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we dragged all the way up that cliff. It was not easy going. And then I had morning, no breakfast, weird, stomach's eating itself feeling. And then I just started yakking bile for 5 minutes, sweating bad. And all right.
I think it's because you were nervous and you were a little sick that you killed a deer.
I think it was probably both. I think the strenuous activity.
I was just kidding. There's no way you weren't sick from killing the deer.
No. Yeah. But the strenuous activity and the the no food whatsoever, and then a tiny bit of Jameson the night before is not great.
Yep.
I don't think the actual killing of the deer had anything to do with me throwing up.
No, not at all.
Timing was comedic.
Yeah.
And then we thought, fuck this. Let's bring all of our gear back, come back and get the deer. But then on the way out, we run into your Uncle Gary hunting with your dad.
Yeah.
And we'd ruined their chances of killing anything by walking right in. And we didn't push anything to them. So they convinced us basically to, why don't we just grab the damn thing.
Just go back and get it now.
Yeah. So they came back with us, and I guess there's no we at that point. I dragged the damn thing out from there. And
once you got to the top there, it's pretty easy coming down.
Well, you and I tandem dragged it to the top of the ridge. And then from there, it's just downhill. And you had that, what do you call that? The harness? You call it a drag?
Yeah, it's a drag pull rope.
Yeah.
With a, orange vesty harness.
Right, it's like a contractor harness without the leg piece, and I just dragged the thing, and leaves make it not too bad, and down it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do it for a 250 pounder. But, it wasn't that bad.
And we weren't too far back on this one,
Right.
It depends on its perspective. Some people might think that we were way back there, but we were up on the first hill behind camp. There's a bunch of ridges and stuff, but we were at the highest point behind camp and then halfway down on the back.
The first 200 yards of deer drag had 100 yards of elevation.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep. Yeah, we were at the bottom.
Yeah, and
we shot it at the bottom, and we were up on a high cliff. We had to get it there, so.
Yeah.
I think it's about 600 feet to the top of that cliff from where we were, yeah.
Yep. But very cool experience.
Yeah.
Like nothing I've ever done either. It's it's just different. It's just so different. It's weird. It's not like anything else.
Yeah, so talk about, because I mentioned it a few times, and you and I always talk about it. You love fishing, and you're a huge fisherman, and you, They're
just so completely non-comparable, in my opinion. The closest thing that whitetail hunting to me is like musky fishing. You're on a boat. Your chances of catching something are really slim. You and your buddy know that they're there, but, hey, we're probably not going to get them. And then all of a sudden, there's a muskie behind your fly, and it eats, and then, all of a sudden you've gone from, sharing a cigarette, being like, oh, it'd be cool if we get one, and then all of a sudden, boom, fish in the boat, holy shit, high fives all round. It's just madness, 0 to hero, and that's what this was like, but it's different because there's, you're killing an animal. It's a big animal.
It's a big animal.
There's death involved, and it's not to...
And you release most of your fish. You're catch and release.
Every single muskie I ever catch, I release. But
even most of your fish. Anyway.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll kill pike through the ice, and I'll kill trout to keep the wife happy. But And I don't know, I'm not some hippy dippy don't kill animals or anything, don't harm the fish type of guy. I mean, I guess a little ridiculous, with people and hunters are the same, criticizing each other. But it's just like nothing else I've ever done, man. The closest thing that the way I felt was after I got a bar fight. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like the closest feeling that I've ever to
That adrenaline rush?
Yeah, that adrenaline rush, but like you'd cause harm to something else.
Yep.
But you also are fucking somewhat happy about it because let's be honest, it's fun.
Yep.
So it's just, I don't know, it's weird. It's like nothing else though. And it's not like I had put in the hours and the miles and this is my second day ever whitetail
Well, that's
hunting.
the weirdest thing about this whole weekend is, I mean, people can come out here and hunt at camp like our friend Matt Hill. He came out here.
I love you, Matt.
During college, I introduced him to hunting. He loved the camp atmosphere. He got along with everybody here great and just loved coming down. But he didn't see very many deer here, and I think he hunted six or 7 years and was just getting sick and tired of not seeing deer. And he quit hunting here, and he went to New York, to Heron Hill Winery, who's our sponsor. My buddy Kyle Franzoni is the vineyard manager there, and they have awesome hunting there. And he started going there, and I mean, Matt Hill killed a huge, nice 10-point buck there. It's one of the biggest deer they've shot there. It must have they didn't weigh it, but it was huge. It was probably,
even for there, that's a good deer that he got.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's
cool.
the biggest one on that area in a long time.
I thought it was
they've
par
killed.
for the course. That's just the way it went over there.
That was like a really nice one.
Oh, cool.
And like 230 pounds, I think probably. It was a big old buck.
Good for him.
Yeah, really nice. But he came here and it wasn't for him. He just couldn't. It is tough hunting here, and both you guys were like, I don't think it. It's
Well, I'm
like
being sarcastic.
I know,
been here
right?
I haven't hunted here, but I've been here enough to know that it's a grind.
And you look at the list,
Yeah.
The list up there is we have a
Right.
list on the wall where it's every deer ever killed here, and it's like the average. We kill 3 deer a year here on average, probably maybe 4, but most of them, like 2 of them, will be does for muzzleloader season, and maybe a couple of bucks here and there.
1980 doe, 1980 doe, 1981 doe, 1982 doe, 1982 doe, 1983 doe, 1984 doe, 1984 doe.
Yeah.
Spike corn, and then 3-point 10 years later.
Yep. I mean, that is what this camp. That's what it's like. There's a lot of hunters around. It's not great deer habitat. There's not a bunch of, but this year there's tons of acorns, so they do have feed.
We should mention, I think, that this whole novice weekend thing that I got to exploit, it's 3 weeks prior to regular rifle.
Yep.
So there's way more deer out there that haven't been killed yet.
Yeah.
I definitely
But
had
even so, during rifle, maybe the first weekend, 6 or 7 bucks will get killed off of this road.
Or at least wisen up, right? They must
Yeah,
they must
and
be
then
like,
they
"Holy
start
shit."
getting pressured. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's like you had virgin woods pretty much.
Well,
I don't
that was
think
the
anybody.
That was the only reason I was maybe somewhat hoping for a buck and not a doe, was because I knew I had, the first time I was like, I'm never going to be able to rifle hunt this time again.
Yep.
In Vermont in my life ever.
Yep. Right.
So I knew I had this special launching point to deal with. So I don't know, I didn't want to sound like an idiot, but I knew it was special. So I wanted to try and get, use it to my advantage and end up with a slightly better deer than normal maybe. And hey, look what the fuck happened.
And Vermont has, this year's the first time where there's a 1 buck limit. It's always been 2. It's a 1 buck limit, but the only people who can get 2 are novice and youth hunters if you get a buck during this weekend. So
Right. I
you
still have my
can
rifle
still
tag.
come out and hunt rifle.
Yep.
Just awesome how everything worked out this weekend. It really is.
Yeah, very fortunate, very lucky. You did well guiding this weekend. You got
I can't believe
me
it.
on a 6.
I really can't believe it.
Yep.
That'll be legendary up on that list there. All right, here's a little pro tip for you guys, and this is probably the most important tip that I can give you as a hunter. Whether you're a new hunter or you're a veteran hunter, this is something that is going to go a long, long way into helping you kill deer. So make sure you're paying attention, okay? What you have to do is make sure that your wives and your girlfriends are happy during hunting season. I mean, you should make sure that they're happy all year long, but especially during hunting season, make sure that they're happy. So butter them up a little bit extra. What I've always found that works really well is buying her some wine. So I buy a case of wine from Heron Hill Winery at the beginning of the season, and if I get through it, which we usually do, somewhere around, middle November, I'll re-up and I'll buy another case. Heron Hill Winery is out of the Finger Lakes in New York,
One of my best friends is the vineyard manager there, so that's why I started supporting them, but I keep coming back because I love their wine. The owner of the vineyard is a big-time hunter, and he makes some great red wines specifically that pair well with venison and game birds. My favorite is the Eclipse Red. It's a nice full-body red, and it goes great with any kind of venison. And their Game Bird Red is great with any kind of game birds, but, I mean, they've got tons of wines. Go check them out. And they have a special deal for Hunt Suburbia podcast listeners. That's you guys. If you want to keep supporting us, please support our sponsors. And there is not a better sponsor to go out and support than Heron Hill Winery. Go to heronhill.com and use code HS5 for an additional 5%. So what they got on there is if you buy 6 bottles or more, there's a volume discount where you get 10% off. So with HS5, you'll get an additional 5% off, which they don't give to anybody else, just you guys. And if you buy a full case, which is 12 bottles for all of you mathematicians out there, you'll get 15% off from their volume discount plus an additional 5%. So that's 20% off total using code HS5. And also, any purchases of 6 or more bottles, it's free shipping. So they're one of the only wineries that have free shipping out there, and they'll get it right to your doorstep in these COVID times. And, you know, you can get it within a week of ordering it. And I really just can't tell you enough. Go out there, support Heron Hill Winery. That's heronhill.com, and use code HS5 so that we know that you're going there from listening to us, and you're going to go a long way to helping out this podcast. Heron Hill Winery, the official wine of hunters, and more importantly, their wives and girlfriends everywhere. Look, I hate ticks. You hate ticks. I know you hate ticks. I know your parents hate ticks. I know your kids hate ticks. We all hate ticks. You know what I want to do to ticks? I want to kill them. You know how you do that? Sawyer permethrin. Not only repels ticks, keeps them off your clothes, but if they do happen to get on there, it'll kill them. They only have to go over 1.5 inches of your clothing that's been treated with Sawyer permethrin to die. What's better than that? Maybe killing a big buck, but this is a close second. These guys are an amazing company. They're U.S. based. They're family owned and operated. Look for the yellow bottle. You can find them in Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, Dick's Sporting Goods, Moose Jaw, REI. Find them online. Whatever you got to do. Get Sawyer permethrin. It is not expensive. It'll save your life from these diseases that ticks carry. And it's a quick application. You spray it on your clothes, spray it on your hat, put it on your socks and shoes, put it on your backpack, let it dry outside in the breeze, and it dries odorless. The deer are not going to pick you off from putting this stuff on your clothes, I guarantee you. Get Sawyer permethrin. You won't regret it.
Yeah, that was the first animal my gun had ever killed. New gun, and yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your prep too. So the difference between Evan, who I call Scotland, I don't know why I'm calling you Evan here.
That's all right.
Scotland,
yeah,
right?
Whatever.
You prepped when he finally, because I've been asking him and telling him for years, like, dude, you got to take your course.
I'd send him a fish picture, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it's great. When are you gonna get your hunting license?" And he'd be like, "No, look at this trout." I'd be like, "No,
like,
when
Evan,
are you gonna
get your license, dude? I know you were born to hunt. I know it. Ever since that pheasant that you killed."
Oh, Christ!
With your slingshot.
You want to talk about that?
You
want
do have
tell
to
that story.
You do have to tell the story.
Okay, it's not much of a crazy story as far as the hunting.
Before you do that, I'm going to give the headline because you probably won't even do this. Evan killed a pheasant with his slingshot after saving a woman from a burning vehicle.
Hold on.
He saved her.
Hold the fuck up.
No, you were
This
a
has
hero.
Chinese whispered out of control and evolved over the years. Back up. Let me correct the record here.
First, he saved a woman from a burning vehicle.
What's funny is I don't know if this was after we played Hold'em or if this was one of the first times we ever spoke. But like Pat and I know each other because I'm a year younger, but we were on the same floor in dormitories for college. And one of the first conversations we ever had was I was just talking about, so I'm pheasant hunting with my slingshot, and they like practically spat out their beer, and they were like, "What?"
That's the funniest thing
and
ever.
it's like, what? Yeah, I don't know.
I was pheasant hunting.
So I didn't have guns in the UK. I mean, you can, but I didn't, and my dad doesn't. You know, I didn't have that upbringing. I was a fishing family, so no guns. But I thought it was cool, and I had a slingshot, like a wrist rocket thing. I didn't have the brace, but I could kill shit with this thing. And I just like to walk around the woods. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Danny, Champion of the World, where they make all these pheasants fall asleep by putting sleeping pills in raisins.
What?
Oh, you gotta watch this movie, man.
Is it like a Scottish movie?
No, it's British. English. And it's not true. Pheasants don't like raisins. I tried it. But I was walking around the woods. We'd see them. There's a big fancy estate near where I grew up where they raise and stalk pheasants, and they would all escape, and they'd be all over the woods near me. They're the dumbest birds in the world. I literally ran one down, and it just ran its head through a chicken wire fence and kept running, like Looney Tunes style. Like, it's running in place, but not moving, and I just ran up behind it and fucking grabbed it.
Did you get it? Did you kill it? Or need
I didn't kill it, but
no.
I grabbed it, and I ended up pulling out a bunch of tail feathers. I wanted the tail feathers, but my golden retriever killed one in our front yard once.
Yeah.
Not a trained dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, walking around the woods, and I think we had my two brothers and some neighborhood kids with us, but they were in a separate group, and I was by myself.
The neighborhood ruffians.
Yeah. And I heard this loud noise, and I knew exactly what it was when it first happened. It was a goddamn car crash. Someone went off the road and flipped their car, and I ran, and I was the first person there because I knew a cut through for the fence. Like, all my buddies went the long way around, but I cut through the fence and the wall, and I knew how to get there straight away. And there's this fucking, I don't know, Ford Focus, a Fiat Punto, one of these crappy little, hatchbacks, upside down, off the side of the road. It is not on fire. There's zero fire.
Evan, you told me it was on. It was in flames. You said
false.
No, you did.
No, that is not true. But anyway, this is something that was evolved when you guys were just telling the story secondhand, I think.
I know. I'm just busting your balls.
But what was true is that she was strapped in her seatbelt. Wear your seatbelt, folks. But she was wearing her seatbelt upside down. All the blood is running like down towards her eyebrows because she's upside down. And I'm the first kid. I was fucking 12 years old, and like the first kid there. Then, like, a cyclist shows up, and a middle-aged man in Lycra shows up and gives clip-ins and dials 999, 911 for you folks, and ambulance come and everything. But I was the kid there dealing with this woman. It's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, and she unclipped herself and crawled out, and there was broken glass everywhere, and she was bleeding, and she was like, my purse, and what am I gonna do? And I just was like, I'll just go get it. So I crawled into the car and like grabbed her.
While it was on fire?
No. I crawled into the car. I grabbed her purse. This woman worked at Tesco, like the local grocery store, and it was weird. And it was just super, super strange. And then I didn't successfully kill a pheasant after that either.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I don't think you. I mean, you had a day anyway.
It's just I was pheasant hunting, and a woman flipped her car.
Yeah,
and that was the event.
Yeah,
but it was just funny that one of the first conversations we ever had was technically about hunting, even though it was a kid with a slingshot.
I just get a kick out of it when nobody here that's not around a poker table. You don't hear.
Yeah.
Well, I was hunting pheasants with my slingshot one day.
Yeah.
Trophy Ridge products are intelligently designed to give you a distinct advantage and be deadly accurate. The team at Trophy Ridge believes smart, hunt-inspired innovation should be at the foundation of each product's existence. You have enough to worry about on a hunt. Your gear should not be one of them. Trophy Ridge accessories give you the comfort of always knowing you're using the best bow hunting equipment when out in the woods or at the range. For information on the all-new 2021 lineup of Trophy Ridge sights, quivers, rests, releases, and stabilizers, visit trophyridge.com. Trophy Ridge, the tools bow hunters trust.
Yep.
Man, yeah, funny stories.
Yeah, but long story short, killing a deer is a unique experience. I think a lot of the I'm gonna do the fish thing again. I think a lot of the joy that I get from fishing is succeeding in doing something that I really want to do. It's not that I do think brown trout are awesome, but it's not that I think this brown trout I'm holding is the greatest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
But I drove 6 hours to a stream that I scouted that I know holds world record, or not world record, but world class browns.
And just for the record, Evan Scotland, he is the best fisherman I've ever met.
You're too kind. I fish a lot, though.
You are.
Thanks. So I fish a lot, and I particularly like salmonids and like migratory salmonids.
And you like fly fishing.
Yeah, I used to only fly fish, but I've kind of backed up now and found a love for spin fishing again. But yeah, there's something about trying to get something that's difficult and highly regarded and then succeeding. And Christ, if that's not
that's what you did
whitetail
here.
Hunting, yeah.
Well, especially here.
Right, but it was also different. I wasn't in the woods by myself. I wasn't scouting. I didn't check my cameras. I wasn't like, all right, this is good. I like this. This rubs here. I like this. You.
Well, look, you're just a little delayed on it. Like my dad did that when I was 11 when I got my first deer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're just delayed on it, but that's so awesome about the novice tag that,
Right.
you know.
I mean, the learning curve is going to be super fast. I mean, I'm not worried about that in the slightest. But I just mean, like, as far as ecstasy on killing that whitetail, it would be different if I had gone by myself.
You did all your own work. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's, that wasn't an amazing experience. It was. But you know what I mean?
But that's how I know you're hooked now. You want to go do your own experience. You want to put in the work.
I want to hunt from a sling or a saddle in a goddamn tree with a bow.
All right, sorry, batteries just died in the podcast machine, but we're back up and going. So talk about that. Evan wants to get into bow hunting. He can't wait to do it, and I love that. I mean, I love that you're into hunting, but I hope that you still want to rifle hunt.
I do.
Because up here, like, rifle hunting is great.
Well,
and
hunting, I don't know. Hunting's different than fishing because there's seasons, and so I think I will rifle hunt because you can't.
And I know you want to track too.
I do. Well, yeah, I really, really want to try that. That looks stupid fun. But that's almost like a whole different thing in and of itself, it seems.
Yep.
And I need a different gun.
Yeah.
But
So with this bow,
I was like, I want to get into bow hunting, and I'm going to buy a bow, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. I feel like you can kill a deer with. I mean, stick bows. This guy's killed deers with crazy stuff. So I don't need the most expensive thing in the world.
Just like you can go get a freaking ugly stick from Walmart for $20 and catch a huge
catch
pike.
a fish on a hand line.
Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gear is to help your confidence, and confidence is to help you get it done, and that's it.
Yep.
So where was I? I wanted to get into bow hunting. I knew I was going to buy a bow.
I almost bought you a bow.
Yeah, you've been saying
I really
that.
wanted to get you into it.
I'm going to get you a Matthews.
And then
or
COVID
something.
happened, and I wasn't making money. But
yeah, but a guy I used to work for, and a friend of mine, he's a avid hunter, and his brother got shot up in Afghanistan, Iraq. Forgive me, Jordan. I don't know where. And he has a bow. He was into bow hunting. It was customized so that he could pull it back because he's got some issues with his injury. AK-47 will do that to you. And he thought it was too loud, I guess. Mm-hmm. So he didn't want it. And Sean texted me just saying, hey,
gave you a great deal.
What do you think? Well, he didn't offer the price. He just said, hey, what do you think? My brother's thinking of selling his bow. What do you think? And I threw out, I'll give him $150 on a guided fishing trip. Thinking like, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
And Sean's like, my brother accepted your offer. And I'm like, oh okay. Shit, better put him on some fish. So
you're gonna get him some good fish. You owe him.
Yeah, him and his son are gonna come up. We haven't talked about this yet, but I think I'd love to just take him for a big pike ice fishing.
What is it? It's a Hoyt carbon.
It's a Hoyt carbon Spider 2015. So I looked it up on eBay. Retail's used for $1,200. Yeah. I mean, the thing's
what a deal. You got a great bow now, and
I got no excuses.
Just practice with that thing.
Oh yeah.
You got a good backyard and all that up there.
I don't have much acreage, but I can certainly set up some big. You
got 150
plywood.
Yards of it. You got 50 yards of acreage.
Yeah,
that's all you're gonna ever shoot that thing.
Yeah. And even then, 50 yards, I can shoot 30 yards, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Yep. No, I'll get some big plywood backstops and just make sure.
And you've got some stuff that you can hunt up there. You got some land that you can hunt.
Yeah.
That's not too far away.
It's huntable land.
I mean, we're gonna have you back at camp. I mean, it's the camp experience. You got a taste of it. You got the best part of it with bucks being killed here.
Yep.
But when middle of rifle season, when it's like the heat of rifle season and it's cold outside, maybe there's some snow. It's a little bit different and just a little better atmosphere. But it was great last night.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been here before, but I've never been one of the hunters here.
Yeah,
we've come here for ice fishing, or I've come just to hang out while you guys have been hunting.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be one of the posse now, and it's a dying thing. I think this situation we have here.
That's all part of it, man.
There's no running water. I mean, there's an outhouse with a hole in the ground, and you want to go take a dump. You got to bring a toilet seat with you.
That's how you want it, though. I'm gonna grab another beer. You want one?
Yes, please. You literally have to grab a toilet seat from the rafters, walk outside, and the old crescent moon outhouse, and plop that seat in the hole, and
it's gonna be
just
a crisp,
like Grandpappy used
crisp
to.
Open right in front of the.
Very nice. That was like one of my dough calls. Crisp.
Yeah, we were tipping the can, the Primos can, a couple times, yesterday, and it was pretty funny. I can't seem to tip that thing well. Like, I always mess it up, and it goes instead of like the long drawn out one that the can's known for, Evan had three crisp, perfect canned turnovers yesterday.
Destined for it.
That was the best thing you did all weekend, to be honest.
I shot a 6-pointer this morning.
That was pretty fun last night because Chris was pushing. He was walking with his muzzleloader. There are a lot of bears out here these days, and Chris really wants to get one with a bear. We were convinced because he came out first morning, hour and a half, killed a 6-pointer with his bow. That just doesn't happen here. And we're convinced that he's going to take his muzzleloader out and kill a freaking black bear in the same day.
It would have been quite impressive.
That would have been insane.
I told him he's buying a lottery ticket for him and us when that happens.
Yeah. So he was walking around, and with Onyx and all that stuff, we did use Onyx a lot, and I always use it. I mean, it's my go-to. We were sitting in the oak flat. We had seen those 2 deer, and those 2 deer were off to our left too far. We were a little bit too far north there, and we made the decision. All right, do we want to get over to that hump where those 2 deer were walking by? We're like, yeah, let's do it. So we made an audible, got up real quick, got over there. It's about 3:30, and we're sitting there, and that last doe that came through, I think it was a doe. I don't know. It might have been a buck. I didn't have my binocs, but ran right up on the knob there on the ridge. We knew where it was. And we knew, and I know it's bedding up there too. It's thick cover in there, and so we're sitting there, and I just take a screenshot of Onyx where we're sitting. I use my phone to use like the edit feature, and I draw little lines on there from where I knew Chris was. I knew where Chris was, and I just drew some lines where I wanted him to walk with some arrows pointing that way. And I sent him a text and said, "Hey, are you able to push this ridge?" I didn't know if he was still there or not. "Are you able to push and walk this path?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." So we had it all planned out, and we were set up there, and we know there were deer up on that knob. We just saw him go up there, and he pushed his way towards us and got to us about 5:00. Nothing came down off of it, but hey, we tried, and we had the plan, and it worked. If you can actually strategize and plan with people, that's one thing about out here. It's hard to get people to all get in on a plan. People are very, they want to go to their spots, like we were talking about this morning. And they don't take wind into consideration a lot. It's just like, I know what my opening day spot is the year before it happens. That's what they do. And they go there. And it's hard to get everybody in on a plan here for some reason. But Chris is, kind of new age hunter, right? And he was like, yeah, we'll push that. So he pushed it. Nothing happened, but he got to us, and it was perfect too, because the wind was coming from the north. He was walking from the south, right where our scent was being carried anyway. I wasn't expecting any deer to come from that way naturally, because our scent was going right down that. That is where we saw those deer, but they were out in front of us a little bit. They might not have caught that scent. And so Chris came in, and that spot we ended up sitting at the end of the night was just awesome, wasn't it?
I took a photo of like Chris's leg, my leg, and your leg, and my gun's resting on my leg.
Yep.
And on the newer phones, you can like zoom out instead of zoom in, so it covers more field of view, and it's surreal, man. It's like we're up high.
All 3 of us hanging out there. Chris is sitting next to us. If a black bear came, he was going to shoot it. If a deer came, Evan was going to shoot it. It was just really cool.
It's a really cool spot, and it just
a great view, and
yeah, it felt really cool. I mean, if there were no leaves in the trees, that's a dangerous zone.
Yep. We didn't get anything there, but hey, it was great. We walked back to camp in the dark, and Yep.
Fun weekend.
Well, sure. We'll check back in with Evan, and you know what? Like, we're doing this podcast. It's weekly, and in the off season, it is going to be hard to keep up with content. We'll probably do some fishing stuff.
You're going to do
some fishing
podcast
podcasts
with me in the shanty.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to do.
Yep, we'll do one in the shanty. But we're gonna have to come up with some content in the off season. It'll probably be a lot of fishing stuff. Maybe turkey. You went turkey hunting this year.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
You're gonna get a shotgun, so maybe we'll do turkey hunt next year.
Yep, definitely.
I bet your brother's spot's gonna be great for turkey.
Yep. That's where I'm probably gonna do most of them. If I get when I get into bow hunting, that's probably what I'll do. It's all close quarters in there. Yep. I'm telling you, man, though, Jim's got me hooked on this whole. Shouldn't even talk about this, but
what? Don't talk about that. We'll I'll reverse that.
Yeah. So I hear there's no deer in Burlington area.
Oh, let's talk about this too. Like, of course, Evan is he loves fishing. I love fishing too. I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I love it. But if I had the choice to hunt or fish, if it's October, November, I'm getting in the woods. I'm not fishing.
You are the fishing equivalent of a very good rifle hunter that has no interest in bow hunting, no interest in any other form of, muzzleloader. No,
Yeah.
fuck it. You love your spending rod.
but
You love changing.
You
lures
can only
every
hunt
5 casts.
deer, and it's only really good hunting for 3 to 4 weeks, dude. That's it.
Yeah.
I can catch a brown trout. I know it's harder. I can catch it any year. Any time of the year. I can catch a rainbow any time of the year. I can go out with a rod
There's
any time of
parallels,
the
but
year.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
And there's 3 or 4 weeks where you just got to be
Right.
in the woods and try to get some bucks.
And by law, your method of harvest is regulated.
Yeah.
That's not applied in fishing for
Yep.
the most part.
Yep.
So
It's just time management for me. I would just rather during that time I want to try to get on that list that you just got on when I'm
Right.
here, or I just want to be in the woods to get a buck. But what I was gonna say is Evan got out to camp before I did. I had to drop my dad's doe off that he got butchered in Massachusetts. His first doe that we talked about on the podcast. I brought it up and I had to go into his house first before going to camp, dropped the deer off, and came out, and Evan was already here, and of course he had like 15 minutes to kill. He was down at the bottom of the hill fishing in the pond down there, and as I pull up, he's got a nice rainbow trout in his hand, flopping around. And so you're the first person ever at camp, we realized today,
buck and a bow in the same weekend.
to catch a rainbow, or catch
Yeah,
any
baby.
trout, and have a buck in the same weekend. Yep. And Chris was the first. Chris definitely got the quickest deer. He hunted an hour and a half out of deer camp and got a deer, and it was a buck, and it was a nice
I
buck.
technically have the second quickest deer then, right?
Yeah, you probably. Well, yeah, you
Who
probably
has
do
hunted
actually.
deer 2 days and killed a deer.
You probably do, because my nephew Sebastian got
yeah.
a deer, but he had hunted the year before, so
Right.
he went out. Yep, but he got that one at like 7:00 right behind camp.
Yep.
But hey, what a freaking weekend!
Yeah,
It
man.
exceeded all expectations. I can't believe it. I'm very happy. Like we talked about, it feels just as good to put your friend on a deer or get somebody a deer. It's like
I can
it's like-
relate, man.
I essentially
Putting people on
guided this
fish.
weekend, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
awesome.
It's better than catching them sometimes. Especially, it's more the fact that you thought you knew where the deer were. You told your friends who are,
Yeah.
particularly Chris, who lives and breathes hunting, where the deer are, and I mean, his skill set aside, and
And it's not like I heavily scouted that, but we were there and we saw fresh scrape. So it's like it's not that difficult,
Right, but it validates.
go down to
it
that fresh
validates
grade.
your thoughts and feelings as well.
Yeah.
Not only do you give your friends great experiences and stuff, but it's like, haha, I was fucking right.
Yeah,
That's what
it
it
was
is.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in disbelief still,
Yep.
but that's great. We'll check in with Evan. I'm sure I want to get Evan to do his own podcast, fishing podcast at some point.
We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, you live and breathe it all the time, fishing. You might
I like
just
fishing though.
look at this little handy thing. You can take this anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And
but I like fishing. I don't like podcasting. I like fishing.
fair
I
enough.
don't want to guide because I like fishing. I don't want
Fair
to
enough.
watch some jabroni fuck up a cast. I want to fish.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Well, thanks for having me at Deer Camp, man.
Oh.
I can't thank you enough. And
Yep.
it's a cool tradition you have here. I wish I grew up with something like this. I mean, I'm very glad my dad put smallmouth on a pedestal for me, but it's not the same.
But I've said it before. Like, you've got so many years of prime hunting in your life. You can be in your prime hunting when you're 55.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's
No
like
doubt.
golf.
Fishing,
You can pick up.
fishing's the same. You guys talk about that.
Yep.
I've been hearing recently. I mean, dude, I see old guys that are just, they kill it. And
Yeah.
Like, you're not hiking in. They're not doing crazy brook trout fishing up hills, but I mean, they're fishing the flats of Florida, 70 years old, and they're killing it.
Yep.
But yeah, I would just say you reminded me there that like anyone who's thinking of getting into hunting, I don't want to try and talk from a point of authority here because I don't know shit. I just killed my first deer. But what I did do is get really fucking good with my rifle. I went to the range.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about yes.
I went to the range once a week since I bought my rifle. I was shooting. That was the first time I ever shot those exact bullets because they're expensive.
Yeah.
But same grain that I was shooting at the range. I went to shootsteel.com and got an 8-inch target of AR-550. Hung it on a T-post 150 yards out, and I can hit that. I think it was like 18 out of 20 bullets.
Yep.
And you get the audible feedback, that ding.
You shot weekly.
Yeah, all the time. And I mean, granted, I'm shooting from a rest and maybe from standing up every now and again. It's not with, you know, your heart beating through your chest and shit.
Well, and nothing can prepare you just for how quick a deer comes through. And like, if it's your first time, it's like, and like, oh man, there's all these sticks and stuff in the way, and I don't have it. It's like, no, that's
just a whole different
that
thing.
first doe that you saw where you were like, I don't have a shot. Yeah, that was a great Vermont shot there.
Yeah,
that doe was going through there, perfect Vermont shot. If you were up on it, you could have touched two off right there.
Yeah, I just wasn't ready.
There's nothing prepares you for that.
But it validates that all because I mean, I didn't have the greatest first shot on that buck. I mean, I didn't hit him, but I didn't really have anything to aim at. I just thought I shot where I thought I wanted to shoot.
Which I wouldn't advise to do either, you know. Don't just guess where the deer is going to be, but it was the first time and it ended up working out fine, right?
Well, no, I just mean I didn't guess where I thought he was going to be. I saw his head.
Yeah.
So I thought his vitals were to the right, so I aimed through that brush. I mean, I missed, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
But then that second follow-up shot, I mean, I hit him right exactly where I wanted to. It was probably perfect. 125 to 150 yards, and if I hadn't been practicing, I wouldn't have got it. And it wouldn't be the same thing.
That buck did not suffer.
He dropped.
He had no idea what hit him.
Dropped.
And that's the way you wanted it. You know, it was perfect.
Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Very cool. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Hunt Suburbia podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We're going to release an episode every single Sunday throughout the season, throughout the entire year, and we will possibly be releasing some bonus episodes here and there throughout the week as people, you know, come in freshly off a bow kill and tell their stories. We hope that happens throughout the season. There might be weeks where you get 2 or 3 bonus episodes. You might not get one for a couple of weeks, but there will be some bonus episodes. But you can count on us every single Sunday to have a new interview on throughout the season. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Big bucks I've been dreaming often, every night till I'm in a coffin. Vermont woods to the burbs of Boston, I'm looking for a tree to get lost in. Crisp mornings, little dust in the snow. Quality time, just me and my bow. Fall evenings, I know just where to go for some quality times for me and my bow. It's just me and my bow.